If I grab every color here and mix it in a bowl, which would be inclusive of green, I come up with black. That's why you've been trained to see black as a color. You've been trained to see black as a color because they've also given you a definition of black, which is swart and bad and ugly and evil and Dracula. And you know what I'm saying? That's a psychological profiling that they've done to monotype, a stereotype, they made me and you into one kind of character, bad. They call us stereotype. Stereo is true. We are stereo beings, God and man, not mono beings. But they have the whole world thinking all that people liars, thieves, crooks, etc., etc., etc. All that is shaded around identifying black as a color and not as a state of existence. On which colors are born. Because black is there. Now, whether stars are shining or not, blackness is there. Regardless of the colors of the stars, white stars, red stars, green stars, blue stars, depending on their illumination qualities and what reflects off them, the blackness will remain. When you cut the lights on in the room, the blackness remains. When you cut the light off in the room, the energy is still in the room, unless you go downstairs and throw the fuse box out. So the energy of the light is in the room, but the black won't allow it to shine on them. Some things that we can see with this but all the other colors are in the light. When the light comes on, the chaos
Rahubat, Moisar. Rahubat. Okay. Another day, another week of Wu-Sabat. We're here today. As usual, we have a lot to cover. And let's see, we just want to get everything just right. And yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. Now, for those who, first of all, Rahubat, Moisar, Rahubat to our Sabian family out there, and greetings to our YouTube family out there. For those who do not know me, my name is Pechi Sina Teptu Re'e, and I've been over 30 years student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher known to us as Panabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture we identify as Wu-Sabat, also known as Wu-Nawap, which stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasonability, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutri. In essence, our culture is about us living in harmony with natural nature. This is the essence of our culture. This is what we teach. And we argue that the challenges that Black people have been dealing with for the last 500 years, dealing with racism, white supremacy, and us, and all the conflicts that comes with it, these problems only exist because we've gotten away from our original way of living, our original way of doing things, and we have adopted foreign cultures, capitalism, communism, Marxism, whatever, socialism, and all of these isms that's not African in nature. And in order for people to succeed, in order for people to achieve, you must have a culture that's designed to work for you. And so we try to teach our people the suffering is because we adapted a culture, foreign cultures that does not work for us. And when you research our history, our origins, the one main culture that worked for us is Wu-Sabat or Wu-Nawab. It is the culture that our ancestors lived in ancient Kemet, aka Egypt, and ancient Nubia, right? Because Egypt and Nubia, which is called Sudan today, they both shared the same culture. And this is when we were ruling in harmony and we had tranquility. We didn't have all the problems we have today. And what we're arguing is that with these problems that we're dealing with here around the world is going to persist as long as we keep living these foreign cultures. So if you want a solution to your life, the only solution is getting back to the culture that's designed to work for you. And that's Wu-Sabat, right? And so this is what we are dedicated to teaching. And so again, I'm just one of many students, right? Who's teaching these things. And I always like to make the disclaimer, I'm not above mistakes. So if I make any mistakes, do not hesitate to bring it to my attention. I have no problem in making corrections as necessary. With that being said, let's see. Rahubat guys who just showed up in the chat. Rahubat Muisar. Rahubat to all. Again, let's see. Before we get started, we like to get started with a prayer. We always talk about our prayer system as Sabians. In fact, last week we did a whole discussion on why we pray. So I highly recommend for those who are curious about the purpose of prayer, which is for your spiritual development, to look at that lecture, to study that lecture. I'm always telling people to watch our lectures more than once. So, and the prayer lecture, I think, is extremely important to really take the time to comprehend it, right? So, with all that being said, now we read our prayers in our language called Sabaic, and then I translate it in the English. Okay, so for those who want to follow along, please do so. Okay. Bade kalal namasat wufad ko amen kasamun shalala pu'ut. Panen safa kawun pa sawa wu pa turuk. Z kawuna nazula laha enkum mane sabad wu sa'at. Amen hade en shafe mane salafu wu nataru. Ajula ye nafasu kum afuk shane kawun kuma pa sawa wu pa turak. This book is the truth and the way. It was sent down for you all from Sabat Wu-Sabat, star constellation, as a guidance and a healing from your ancestors and overseers. Return to your own. Accept what is yours, the truth and the way. Anun tawa ankum lehe panan shafe'un wu alaj. Anun tawa ankum lehe nasuinun. Anun tawa ankum lehe ashuk. Ankum ata salafunun. Anun ata khara'ukum. Anun talub nasar kuma. Anun talub nasar kuma. And so nun sayim nataru. And so nun salafunun. Anun ata musba'u. We thank you all for this healing and cure. We thank you all for not forgetting us. We thank you all for Ashuk. You are our ancestors. We are your children. We seek your help. We seek your help. Help us, divine overseers. Help us, our ancestors. We are Musba'u. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Jetna 4. Alrighty then. Okay, so we got through that. And every week, we always go over the principles of our culture, Wu-Sabat. So for those who are new, who are watching this for the first time, I go over the core principles of our culture so that everyone is very clear on what we're about, what we stand for, what the whole purpose of our culture, what our goals, our focus is, what what we represent in general. Okay. And for those who are familiar with it, right, I'm always telling you guys to definitely study these principles to because the goal is to live by them, right? To strive to represent these principles in your action and your deeds. Okay. Principle number one is Ashak, and that stands for divine love, or we say the power of love. Now, we've done lectures on this, so I'm always recommending you guys to check them out. So for those who haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And for those who have seen it, I'm always saying watch it again. Principle number two is resurrection. Resurrection is about becoming goddesses and gods by opening your third eye. We've done discussions on that, so highly definitely check those lectures out for those who haven't, and watch it again if you haven't watched it in a while. Principle number three is the wisdom of the Hutri and Ma'at. The Hutri stands for our divine mind, and Ma'at stands for order. We did discussions on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number four is relationships. As an African people, we always lived of, for, and by each other, right? And we did a lecture on that. And so, in fact, I can't stress this one the most important because this is the biggest challenge we're having as a people. We don't relate to each other anymore. You know, we're because we're living European culture, we're so individualistic, and this is why we can't get anything done, guys. So definitely, study that this lecture, relationships. Principle number four is morphic resonance / matrix. Morphic resonance stands for sound, color, frequencies, vibrations. It is the essence, the tones of existence itself, of creation. And creation creates matrices. The manifestation of these vibrations, right, is a matrix. Principle number six is Leviathan. Leviathan stands for moon culture, aka religion, aka Western culture. We did lectures on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number seven is soul / spirit. Your soul is your emotional force. Your spirit is your life force. We did discussions on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number eight is health. Health, the first key to health is a positive mind, right? As melanated people, you need a lot of sunlight. Water, the body is 70% water. Fasting, we recommend at least once or twice a week. The herbal diet, something Dr. Savy talks about. Exercising, rhythmic breathing, meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. We always taught as an African people, health is not just physical, but is also spiritual. Health is just not physical, but is also spiritual. In fact, that is what today's discussion is all about, right? So definitely stay tuned for that. And the last principle is Pa'ut, which is identified as a creative force, right? Existence is based on this creative force, and we identify it as Pa'ut. It translates in English to all, right? You can't add to the all because where would you get it from? You can't take from the all because where would you put it? All is, and we're all a part of this creation force. Okay, and existence is based on what we call the SMAT, cycles of nature. Okay, and we always move from moon cycles to sun cycles, from sun cycles to moon cycles. Existence is based on perpetual cycles, and the creation force of that we call it the energy. We call it akach. That's the terminology that our ancestors called it, akach. It translates to ether, which is what people talk about today. Okay, now with that all being said, as a Sabian, we have three primary goals. Goal number one is to raise the self. Goal number two is to fight Leviathan. And goal number three is to work to build Sabbatia. And goal number one in raising the self, it's what we say is like being born again that the Christians teach, where you learn the culture of Wu-Sabat, you live that and you give up the old culture, right? The Western culture. This is one of the most important things. And then in that process, you correct your name. Okay, it's to identify yourself with a Sabian name. You must correct how you dress and look. That's very important for us to get into identifying our cultural clothing. Learn to speak the language, Sabaic, right? You must study our doctrine. we recommend doing that each and every day. Studying our doctrine, right knowledge, is what helps you in your decision-making skills. Because again, Wu-Sabat stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasoning. And you're going to get your reasonability through studying the doctrine. And then you must practice and master our daily rituals to turn yourself inside out. This is how you open up your third eye. This is what raising yourself is all about. And you must always be positive. No worthwhile goals are achieved unless one is positive, right? And then your second goal as a Sabian is to fight Leviathan. We at war with Leviathan. And that includes working to free Panabab Yunanin, promoting Wu-Sabat, and become a student teacher, right? That's all of this is about fighting Leviathan. And understand that Leviathan, we have the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan is our ignorance, fear, ego, anger, our lust/desires, and lies/deceptions. This is what we're trying to overcome within ourselves and trying to educate our people about overcoming these things. And then the last goal is to work to build Sabbats here. Guys, we have to get our own land, our own communities again. This is of the utmost importance. In addition to that, we work to support each other in business. We help each other reach positive goals. We help to build our culture. We must set up a landing zone for Pandatharu in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government. And Ashuk is the only key to accomplish our goals. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabian? A Sabian is someone who's thoughtful and cares, someone who's helpful and honest, someone who's responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice and honorable, someone who is righteous and humble, someone who is positive and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is kind and considerate, and someone who is neat, clean, and orderly. Our purpose as Sabians is, we're always fighting to liberate ourselves from adverse forces. This is what your day-to-day objectives should be, to liberate yourself from adverse forces. So number one, we say you must take action each and every day to free yourself of 60 spirits inside and out, which includes Black people who are possessed by these spirit forces. 2, acknowledge and fight 6 Ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation, the so-called equality of the races, and racism, white supremacy. And then number 3, learn, live by, and promote the laws/rules of natural nature, right? So this is, what we're fighting for to liberate. These are the things that are a must. Now, word of advice, do not judge this doctrine by watching the behavior of Panabab Yunanin nor his students. Judge this doctrine by the effectiveness of the information, aka information, that you personally put to practical use. This doctrine is based on self-authentication. Know that we are not preachers, but teachers who are dedicated to answering questions until there's a meeting of the minds between the teacher and the student, who then can work in unity, which is the only solution to our problems, guys. All right. With all that being said, let's see where we at. Okay, so today's discussion is called the African Science of Health. Okay, the African Science of Health. So let's get started. And if anyone have any questions or concerns or anything y'all wanted to discuss in regards to the things we talk about and teach, do not hesitate, right? I'll do my best to address any questions or concerns that anyone may have. But as we go, this is a very extensive topic. I will say this, right? So I'm always saying, definitely, guys, watch this more than once. I can't stress it enough. Watch these discussions more than once. I'll always repeat that. It'll help. I watch my own lectures more than once, just so you know. I really do. It helps me. It helps me in my own edification. So if I have to do it, trust me, you guys should be doing it as well. Okay, so question, what is health? Okay. Answer, health in terms of life is about being able to function at the optimum level based on one's natural genetic makeup. Being that we know nature is the creator of us all, we now know that nature creates all living species with the ability to function at its optimum level given its genetic makeup. Excuse me. Now, if we are to observe all living species within nature, we would notice that all living species, be it birds, fish, insects, cows, lions, etc., all function at their optimum levels based on their natural nature genetic makeup, guys. Right? So that's why birds could fly and fish can swim, and they do it to the best of what their ability to do. Like I had an issue with squirrels on my roof in my house, and I tried to get the squirrel, and that darn squirrel, and I got like a 2-story house. It jumped literally right off the roof of my house and landed in my backyard just perfectly, right? And just ran off. Now imagine us doing that, now, and the squirrel is, how much bigger we are than the squirrel. We should be able to do that, but we can't. Okay. So that's what I mean by animals are really functioning at their genetic norm. Okay, so let's keep going. Knowing these facts teaches us that humans are no different from the rest of the animal kingdom in this regard, as far as their genetic makeup is concerned. Humans also have the potential to function at their natural nature genetic makeup, and this would be the proper or correct definition of health as this regards to people. So us functioning at our highest genetic makeup would be the ideal level of health for us. Okay, so that's what we mean. That's what health is. So if you're not functioning at that level, at your genetic makeup, what you was genetically designed to be able to do, then obviously that's another way of saying we're not healthy. Okay, so now, next question. If people were to function at optimum levels of health, what would that look like? Answer. People would behave like what we see in today's movies, such as the movie called Lucy. Now, I don't know if you guys seen that movie. In fact, I'm going to show a quick clip of it to give you some idea for those who are not familiar with it. But so let me go. People would behave like what they see in today called Lucy, where you have a female character who is able to use 100% of her brain function. Someone who is able to function at this level would have the abilities that Panabab has been teaching about since the 1970s. The master teachers always talked about our dormant abilities that we have, right? So if we was functioning at our optimum levels of health, we would be exercising these abilities, but obviously we're not. So, for example, our abilities are explained in many books we have published, such as The Man from the Planet Risk. So if you go to page 115, I will in a minute, which explains how we have the ability to turn ourselves into a ball of energy for dimensional travel. The point being made is that humans who function at their optimum level would be able to do things that seem supernatural, but really it would be only a natural part of their nature. Examples of this would be to observe professional athletes who all perform at these optimum levels that the average person does not, who has not trained themselves to do so. Also, if we were to study high spiritual people, we would also notice that they are able to do things that most people can't because they have not been trained to do so, right? These facts leads us to realize that humans have dormant potential that is yet to be realized by the mass majority of people. Okay, so for instance, when we look at the Olympics, you're seeing us humans perform at some of the highest levels pertaining to whatever events that they're dealing with. And it just goes to show what our potentials are, because some of these people who are performing in things like the Olympics are light years, ahead of the average individual trying to do those things. For instance, I can't play tennis like, I can't play tennis like the female tennis players, let alone the male tennis players, right? They'll mop the floor of me and anyone else who is not trained like that. But it just goes to show what our potentials are. Okay, so now if we go refer back to something the master teacher talked about in this book, The Man from the Planet Risk, which I highly recommend for those who have not read it to read it, right? I always tell people you can get access to these books because this book is out of print on Scribes for those who are not, who are not familiar, who don't know that. You can get access to, a lot of the books that the master teacher put out, at least our older books, which are extremely important. But this right here is the book, The Man from the Planet Risk, that we put out back in 1995, I believe. This is I'm on page 116. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to read from here. He talks about, it's a question here. He says, what are density levels and how do you transfer the body into a ship? So now he's talking about we have the ability to turn our bodies into pure energy, where we can turn ourselves into like a craft, a literal craft. And so he's talking about different density levels. Now, I've talked about this before. There are 7 density levels, really 9, but 7 for us to be concerned about density levels. And so right now we're on what we call the material plane, where humans exist, which is one of the lowest density levels on vibration. The next density level up is the plane of force, which is vibrating at a higher density level. The average human being is not aware of that level because we're vibrating at such a low rate. And then above the plane of force is the spiritual plane, which is the next density level up, right? And so these are things we should be in tune with. Our ancestors used to be in tune with, but we're not any longer. And this is what I mean. We're not operating at our optimum levels of health. This is the key. What our genetics were designed to operate at, but because we have genetic defects, this is what the issues are. But what is our potential? This is what we're talking about. What is our potential of what we're able to do as when it pertaining to our optimal levels of health? So it goes on to say, answer a question. What are density levels and how do you transfer the body into a ship? Answer. Density levels are the different dimensions that beings vibrate on. There are 9 different density levels altogether. The body can be turned into a ship by utilizing the 7 seats or chakras of the body. At each of these seats is a gland. And as I said before, you must learn how to vibrate on a certain tone. When you do this, all the seats or glands line up and vibrate, giving you the ability to turn into energy. These seats are your secondary set of senses that help you stay in tune with the spiritual world. You still have them, yet they are latent in you. Okay, so this is I guess a drawing of what it would be like. So here's a person sleeping in bed, and then their spirit is coming out of their physical body, right? So you have your spirit body, and it's showing how you have the ability to separate from the physical body. So this one picture here says turning the body into a ship. So you turn into pure energy here, and that's by raising the vibration of your cells. And then over here it says your soul ascending, leaving the body behind, right? So those are 2 ways that you can elevate yourself, is what we're talking about. And this is within our potential to be able to do. Okay. So let's see. Let's go back. Where we at? Question. If these higher potentials in humans are possible, then why don't people naturally realize these things? Answer. If we were to study the stories of our ancient African ancestors, these abilities used to be normal within our lives. When we tried to analyze what happened, we would find that there was a change in lifestyle as well as genetics. If we look at stories from the Bible, seems to make these points clear, such as the Bible originally telling humans to have a vegetarian diet. Guys, if you read like in Genesis chapter 1, I think verse like 29, 20 or 30, the original diet of the humans or the Adamites was a vegetarian diet. And then along the way, the Bible changes their diet. Okay, when you go into the other books, but the initial diet was a vegetarian diet, and then there's been a change. That's important to make note. And then it goes on to talk about the Bible also talks about humans living hundreds of years, even up to 1,000 years old. But if we read Genesis chapter 6, it talks about humans being raped by the sons of God, or what we call aka ETs, right? And the children from these relationships were called mighty people, but also called evil people. So now here's a change in genetics. And you also see a change in the people's behavior when the Bible talks about at one point, people were behaving one way. And then after this, after these relationships and these children were created in Genesis chapter 6, it says that, evil basically descended upon the planet, that these children were wicked, that came out, from them. And this goes into the whole Noah story, why it claims these gods in the Bible decided to destroy these offspring. But let's keep going. Now it says these types of stories are not only recorded in the Bible, but also in Egyptian and Sumerian legends, as well as East Indian and other ancient peoples' histories. We as Africans have lost knowledge of our original culture called Wu-Sabat, also known as Noon, that taught us how to live up to our potential. Our culture taught us how to reason soundly, being in tune with natural nature, but because of our genetic alterations, it reduces our reasonability. So before we, remember, guys, one of the things that we try to explain to our people is originally we all were the tides. Our original size was 5 feet for males, 4 inches, and 4 feet 5 inches for females. And as you see now, when you're looking at us African peoples, we have all kinds of looks now. It wasn't like that. So obviously there's been genetic alterations, and in those genetic alterations, comes change in your behaviors, and you lose abilities. Things that we were able to do, we're not able to do it because of these genetic alterations. Okay, so I think that's extremely important for you guys to understand. All right, so now it goes on to say, now because we are so mixed in blood, we are not only disconnected from nature, but we are also disconnected from each other, which is why we find it so easy today to abuse one another. All right. So, that's what's up, Glennar. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know why a lot of people don't, study the information we're putting out. I think is extremely important, but it is what it is. It's not for everyone. But we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep doing our work regardless. But I appreciate the support, guys, for those who choose to show up. So now, let me go in here for a minute, because this is something that the master teacher had covered, and I think it's imperative that you guys check this out. Okay, so this was a class where the master teacher was talking about what our potential is. This class, I was actually in this class. I'm actually on this tape because I asked a question in this class, and the name of this class, I forget the name of this class. I'm sorry. I think it's going to come up. But this was a class, with this class part was in 1990, 1991, right? That we did this class. This is when we were in Brooklyn, and the master teacher was teaching us at the time. And he talks about our potential, what we're transforming into, okay? From being not just physical beings, but also into spiritual beings. I'm breaking up, Akeem. I hope, some of you guys can hear my sound okay. Okay, now, let's see. But this is the important class where the master teacher is talking about what our potential is. So check it out, guys. Listen up.
Man today on earth questions the divine's purpose. What am I doing here? Why am I here? Why did he create evil? Why did he do this? Why did he do that? That's how you know the war between good and evil is about to start again. Because here's the man with 360 degrees trying to get back to his 720-degree nature, and he's starting to use his 360 degrees to question things in the spiritual realm when his 360 only covers him on the physical realm. You dig what I'm saying?
Now, I hope you guys caught that. So the master's teacher talking about originally we had 720 degrees of knowledge. We have 360 degrees of physical knowledge, right? So we all are aware or in tune with the material realm, the material plane that we're on. But we used to have spiritual knowledge, 360 degrees of spiritual knowledge that we lost, guys. And this goes into the genetic alterations, how we lost knowledge of the other levels of existence. And that's what the master's saying. We're now beginning to re-educate or be re-educated about that, which is what the purpose of the master teacher is to re-educate us about our spiritual knowledge. And we're moving to that realm now, which is what all these lectures and classes are all about that we've been trying to do here on our channel. Okay, is help everybody re-educate themselves about what our potential is. Because again, health, when you say you're healthy, that means you're operating at your highest level of potential. If you're not functioning at your genetic potential, then you can't call yourself healthy. This is what we're trying to say. Because until we acknowledge that there's something wrong with us, that there are things that we could do that we're not doing, and then the question becomes, well, how do we fix ourselves, right? And that's what we're going to get into.
Stated in your literature that even right now, if we have our physical bodies and our mind correct, we're able to go to those different planes. Am I right?
Yes, you can. If you line, I said, if you line up your spiritual body and your physical body, you will be able to make that. You will make that translation like Enoch in the Bible.
Okay, can a pale man do that?
Yes, he can. That's a good question. Yes, he can. Only he goes to lower realms. There's upper realms and lower realms. There's Hades and there's Samael. The devil in a spiritual form travels to lower realms with his demons. He cannot go up where to the fourth, to Melakut, to the fourth realm where you can. He can astral project downward.
Okay, so that's very important, right? For you guys to understand what our potentials are to be able to transcend to higher dimensions. Now, here I want to show you another clip about a Hindu girl who was taught by a spiritual master in India, right? Who taught her how to have use of her third eye. Okay, and so this is going into showing what our potentials are. So check this out.
To peer into her eyes is to see not only the stars, but the whole universe. But today, we're covering them 3 times. Nine-year-old Yogamata is one of many children who went to Gurukul, India, and are now demonstrating the same power.
Is just the mystical power that I got to learn in Gurukul.
She was initiated, actually, by a guru, but we'll talk more about that later. She demonstrated her impressive ability on Capitol Hill, and then again at this Vedic temple in Southern California.
All I can say is, be prepared to be amazed. Can you tell us your name?
My name is Ma Yogamata.
Are you ready for the blindfold reading?
Yes.
Watch as she reads pieces of paper handed to her by random observers, blindfolded.
Director of successful and respected American business.
She plays with toys, letting an audience member mix one set before matching up the colors as though her eyes were wide open.
First the green, then the orange, then the blue, then the blue, then the yellow, Then the like a donut.
Wonderful.
Even beating this young onlooker at a game of tic-tac-toe.
X. I won.
Yay!
When the temple first reached out to tell me about the girl with
Okay, so again, they're training their children out there in India how to have use of their third eye, right? So as you guys know, I've been talking about this because the master has been teaching us that we all have this dormant ability. These are potentials that we're not utilizing. Unfortunately, because most of our people don't, they're just not knowledgeable about it, and they don't take it seriously, and they don't understand or understand how to develop themselves spiritually to utilize these abilities. But it's real. It's very real, guys. So question: if we are out of tune with natural nature, is there a way we could fix ourselves? Answer: yes. But in order to fix ourselves, we first must understand what gives us life, which is energy, or what we call sakhem, also called prana by East Indians and chi by the Chinese, right? All living species of life live off this life force called sakhem. Sakhem is what the cells in the human body require in order to function correctly. This means that when a person is sick, regardless of the so-called illness, it is due to a disconnect of the cells of the body and Sakhem. If the body does not consistently replenish Sakhem, then the body becomes susceptible to diseases of all kinds, be it cancer, high blood pressure, lupus, head and stomach aches, the common cold, etc. Sakhem is the life force that feeds your spirit body. All living species of nature have a spirit body, and Sakhem is what gives strength to your spirit body. All those who truly want to understand how to be healthy must understand the power of Sakhem and how to harness it into the body. Okay. And so, in fact, there's a video, I think is an excellent video on meditation that talks about how to harness Sakhem into the body. The individual, it's a Hindu who's talking about it, and he calls it cosmic energy. That's another name for Sakhem, cosmic energy. Like I said, the Hindus also call it prana. The Chinese call it chi. Okay, and I had talked about this video before, and I think it's an excellent video because it goes into what we're able to, how we're able to harness Sakhem. So this video is talking about, once you learn to go into a meditated state, you can process this cosmic energy into the body for the purpose of restoring one's health. Okay. So this is key. So check this out.
In this state, we will be under the shower of cosmic energy.
So he's talking about once you get into a high level of meditated state, now your body can harness this cosmic energy or Sakhem. Okay. So if you notice above, there's this blue light, and that light is going into the top of the head, what you call a crown center. And this is how the body is beginning to be recharged and revitalized through this process. Keep listening.
The more meditation one does, the more will be the cosmic energy one receives. This cosmic energy flows through the energy body. It is also called the etheric body.
So now he's talking about the etheric body, right? That's your higher, that's your oversoul, your higher self. And basically, see, that's why you have life. This is what feeds your physical body. The problem with us is that we don't understand that in order to maintain optimal levels of health, you must, in essence, process this cosmic energy or sechem into the body. And that's what this video is trying to explain. Keep listening.
The energy body forms with more than 72,000 nadis or energy tubes which runs all across the body. All these energy tubes start from the top of the head region. This region is called Brahmarandra. These nadis spread throughout the body like roots and shoots of a plant. The energy body is the main base for the design of our life. This energy body is the main source of all our actions and even our existence. Our energy body receives cosmic energy during deep sleep and meditation. We are using this energy for our body and mind activities like seeing, speaking, hearing, thinking, and all physical actions. All these functions are totally based on the incoming cosmic energy. The inflow of cosmic energy is purely based on our thoughts. When we have thoughts, the inflow of cosmic energy is obstructed. In other words, our thoughts are the stumbling blocks for the inflow of cosmic energy. When the inflow of cosmic energy is less, the energy in the energy tubes depletes. This depletion causes etheric patches in the energy body. These etheric patches gradually lead to diseases in the physical body. In other words, root cause for all diseases is the lack of energy in the etheric body. In meditation, we get abundant cosmic energy. It flows through all our energy tubes of the energy body. When cosmic energy is passing through energy tubes, because of its heavy flow, it cleanses all etheric patches. When etheric patches are cleansed, we come out of all our illnesses. When energy starts flowing through the Brahmarandra, we feel heaviness in the head region or heaviness of the whole body. When energy is cleansing the energy tubes in a particular region, we may get itching sensation or pain in that region. Sometimes we may experience pain in various places in the physical body. For these pains, we need not take any medicine. All these pains will vanish by doing more meditation. By intake of more and more cosmic energy through meditation, we come out of all physical and mental illness. If we meditate inside the pyramid, meditative state can be achieved 3 times faster than normal. Let us now know about pyramid and pyramid power.
Now he's going to explain how being near or within a pyramid, basically the pyramid structure is it harness this Sechem energy, and anyone who's in that vicinity basically can process this energy into the body and recharge you. Guys, now people know why this is why the master teacher built the pyramids on our land. It's also one of the reasons why the disagreeable ones took that land from us, because they knew what the master was actually doing. They understood the spiritual science that he was doing, and obviously they wanted to stop us. But you know, keep listening. We're gonna get a little bit more I want you guys to see, and then we're gonna move on.
Pyramid is the most stable structure which receives the highest cosmic energy in this planet Earth. Pyramid forms at an angle of 52 degrees 51 minutes, and because of this angle, it receives the highest cosmic energy. Pyramid can be constructed with any material. Materials make no difference in the receiving of the cosmic energy. Pyramid has to be aligned to perfect cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Cosmic energy gets accumulated at 1/3 height from the base of the pyramid. This place is known as King's Chamber. Cosmic energy will be maximum in the King's Chamber, and it's
Okay, so that gives you guys an idea about the science of harnessing Sechem into the body. That's how you recharge the cells within your body. This is how you heal yourself, guys. And this is what the master teacher has been teaching us for eons. He's been trying to explain all of these things to us about what healing is really about and what our potential for health is. Okay, so let's go on. Questions. How does the body harness Sechem, right? Or this cosmic energy? The body harness Sechem every time you breathe, for Sechem is in the atmosphere just like oxygen. Sechem is why our bodies are refreshed while we sleep. Sechem is why our bodies heal when we are hurt. If you were to learn how to breathe in rhythm, this would allow you to inhale more Sechem for better health. When we exercise, our blood flow creates energy in our cells, which allow our cells to harness Sechem as well. Meditation is one of the best ways to harness Sechem into the body. Meditation is called conscious sleep, which increases Sechem production 100-fold. So the key of meditation, guys, is to, they call it conscious sleep because what the goal of meditation is to shut your thoughts down, your mind down. And when you shut your conscious mind down and you put yourself in that deep, relaxed, tranquil state, the body will just process Sechem into it, right? This is how you harness that energy to recharge yourself, okay? Now, walking in the heat of the sun also increased Sechem production within the body. Harnessing Sechem into the body was the reason why we built pyramids. The shape and design of a pyramid increased Sechem within its area and is able to recharge those who are near it. When our bodies are flooded with Sechem, this activates our third eye for those who are able to maintain a positive mindset. For those who are able to comprehend the benefits of Sechem, can then understand the blessings of being melanin-dominated people, for we all know that melanin harnesses energy into the body, which is how we process sachem into our bodies. Okay? Question. I thought good health was about eating right, exercising, and taking herbs from people like Dr. Sebi. Answer. Eating right and exercising is only one part of good health. We live under Western culture, and all of their concepts of life are based on materialistic things that their five senses can identify with. Anything that their five senses or their machines cannot identify, they discard. The concept of Sachem is beyond white people's knowledge, so as far as they are concerned, it does not exist. But being that we are educated by white people, we pay a heavy price because we are misinformed about so many things that concerns us. Our ancestors always taught that health was spiritual first and material second. We must realize that our emotions are spiritual senses, for spirit is just another name for energy. And E equals energy in motion, aka emotional energy, also known as spiritual energy. These concepts are beyond the comprehension of the Caucasian race, who are just a very materialistic people. Black people are dying by the millions because we are following white people's concepts of health and well-being, which means that we are ignoring the spiritual side of health. In order to have perfect health, then you must do spiritual things as much as you do physical things to maintain your health. If you don't learn to understand your emotional energy, aka your feelings of happiness, hate, fear, anger, frustration, stress, pain, lust, depression, etc., all these things are spiritual, aka energy in nature, that must be controlled by your mind. If you choose not to learn to control your emotional energy, then sickness of the body is inevitable, for all sickness starts with negative energy in the body. Remember, I taught in the lecture The Power of Love about the heart center, which is the seat of the emotional energy within the body. Guys, so watch that lecture. I did that lecture, The Power of Love, and we talk about the heart center, guys. This is the seat of all your emotions, okay? And our people are suffering because they don't understand how to control the emotions of hate, the emotions of lust, the emotions of fear, the emotions of stress and anxieties. And you can, if you understand, these are just energy fluctuations in the body and they can be controlled. But our ignorance, because we live Western culture, we're not going to learn. We don't learn these things. And so we're constantly in a bad state of health. And that's why we're so sick, guys. You know, I can't stress that enough. But I go on to say, one must learn to control your emotions caused by the heart center by way of learning to master spiritual practices if you want to live in optimum health. Now, for taking Dr. Sebi's herbs or any other is good advice. But again, these things just address the physical body and not the spirit or emotional bodies. Okay. You know what? In fact, let's see. There's a Asian guy who talks about it. Also, I think you guys should check out this guy right here. He's a Tai Chi master. Okay, he's a Tai Chi master, and he addresses the concept of, well, he talks about chi. It's the same thing. Sachem, chi, prana. It's all the same energy. Now, notice. We first listened to the Hindu talk about it. Now we're going to listen to the Chinese. And obviously they got this knowledge from us, our ancestors in ancient Kemet, right? And Sudan. And guys, here's another thing. When we talk about ancient Kemet or Egypt, we're also talking about ancient Sudan, because Kemet and the Sudan or Nubia lived the exact same culture. In fact, the Egyptians, the Kemites, got their culture from Sudan. Okay? Mukasu loves to ignore that fact. You know, he just loves to ignore. In fact, he tries to imply that our ancestors in Nubia learned from the Kemites or the Egyptians, and it's backwards. It's the other way around. In fact, the ancient Egyptians teach that. They taught that they got their knowledge from the Sudanese. But let's keep going, or from the Nubians at that time. But listen to this Tai Chi master on this concept real quick.
About healing. For most of people, what do you have in your mind immediately? Well, for most of people, of course, go get the pills. When you think about healing, for most of people, what do you have in your mind immediately? Well, for most of people, of course, go get the pills in the medicine cabinet in your house and somewhere. If you have a little headaches and aches and pains in the body, right? Otherwise, you go see a doctor, and then so get the prescription, and then so go to the pharmacy to get the medicine. So that's what most people think about. When you hear somebody says, well, you know what? Your body has the most powerful medicine for healing everything. And you might say, oh, come on, so how could that be? How can that happen? Well, you know what? That's not only I say so, all the masters, the Qigong masters, and the most powerful Chinese medicine masters in the history said the same thing. And they said the most powerful medicine, it is not from outside, not the pills, not the Chinese herbal soups you drink. It is from within. Qi is the most powerful medicine in our body, helping ourselves to heal, to balance. So, where's the location?
Okay, that commercial. Hold on. Let it process through the commercial. We're about done with it. Only in a couple seconds more. I'm gonna listen to it.
And how can we activate this qi to help us to heal? So today, I will take this opportunity to guide you to do a qi hunting. So I will help you to explore together what is qi and why it is so powerful, this medicine. And how can we activate this medicine to help us to heal and heal completely. And then we're going to do some practices together. Now, see if you have.
Okay, so again, he's saying the same thing. He's saying the same thing the Hindu said, right? And so this is the Chinese, same concept. Okay, and so all of these ancient cultures, they understood what health was about. Health is not just physical, but health is also spiritual. You have to look at health from the spiritual point of view before you look at it from the physical point of view. Okay, in Western culture, we're taught to think backwards. In fact, they don't even teach us anything about the spiritual point of view. All they talk about is the physical point of view of health, and this is why we're suffering. That's why, you understand Mukasu, he's not even concerned about curing any disease. All he does is treat disease because he wants people to be customers, to keep going to the hospital, to keep buying his expensive drugs. That kills thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. Their drugs constantly kill people, guys. Now, when you go on Wikipedia, right, and you look up the ancient Egyptian concept of the soul, okay, the ancient Egyptian concept of the soul, it breaks down the different layers of our nature, our physical body versus our spiritual bodies, right? You have your ka, right? And then you have your ba, and then it talks about here, you have sachem, right? So if you see it right here, sachem, and it translates as power or force, life force. And this is what our ancestors taught. In fact, if you go right here, let's see, in Wikipedia, you click on sachem, and it talks about sachem. It says it is little is known about the Egyptian interpretation of this portion of the soul. Many scholars define sachem as the living force or life force of the soul which exists in the afterlife after all judgment has been passed, blah blah blah. Okay, so they're 1 minute they say they don't understand it, but they do understand it. It is a life force, right? And all existence is based on Sakhem. And like I said before, the Chinese call it Chi and the Hindus call it prana. Now here's the other thing. Here's the Akh. Okay, so when we talk about the Akh or Akak, right? This is the living energy or ether, which is what Sakhem is anyway. Sakhem is just another form of ether energy. Okay, and so that was, we call Sakhem the life force, and then you have ether itself, which is called Akak right here. And if you notice, it's the ibis bird, and that's why we said in the wisdom of Tahuti, he represents the divine mind, because this is the head of Tahuti is this ibis bird. It represents Akak, and that's why we say Tahuti is our divine mind, because that's the etheric mind, that all is mind, all is this mental energy, which is called Akak. Okay, so that's a little side note that I wanted to stress in talking about that. So, but you guys can look that up for those who want to get more information on it. But let me keep going. Now, question. Let's see. How do you know when you are at optimum levels of health? Answer. When you learn to open your third eye, then you will be living at the optimum levels of health. Your third eye is your gateway to controlling your heart center, for you would be aware of the different levels of energy of the body and the energy forces that is all around us, and be able to distinguish good energy to process from the bad energy that you must avoid. We talked last week about the body needing to vibrate on a certain tone. Well, once you understand this concept, then you will be able to vibrate on a tone that will keep your genetics in a state of harmony with nature. We must realize everything about white people's culture is poison to us, starting with their language that we speak, which keeps us locked into their vibrational frequency, which is how they are able to influence and control us. White people have their own tones that keeps them in harmony, which is why they all love their culture, which happens to be a nightmare for all conscious Black people. What works for them does not work for us. For all species within natural nature have their own natural nature morphic resonant frequency that puts them in harmony with each other. Guys, this is why Black people can't seem to unite, is because we are all vibrating on a resonant frequency that keeps our bodies in a state of stress, frustration, low energy, and confusion. The ruling elite know these things about us, which is why they promote things that keep our body in disharmony. Realize why they make people like Snoop Dogg and Lil Wayne, who are known drug addicts, famous, or show movies about us living in poverty or gang banging on each other or selling drugs to each other. White people will continue to promote things that keeps us unhealthy, such as the poison food, drugs, and alcohol they flood our neighborhoods with. They know by keeping us in poverty that we would do desperate things to get out of it, which is why we sell drugs to each other, rape each other, kill each other, steal from each other. Our women strip for money. We do porn for money. We sell out for money. The elite know the elite knows that these behaviors are of a sick people who are out of harmony with their natural nature, which is why when you study our history, you see none of these things that we are doing to each other today. In ancient Africa or here in the Americas, we had no strip clubs, no porn, no prison system, no GMO poison foods. Our women weren't being raped, no armed robberies, no rent to pay, because we knew the earth and her resources was free for all. My point is that it is near impossible to achieve optimum health living in a system designed to poison you. Once we choose to give up on white people's culture for Wu-Sabat, then optimum health is easy to achieve, guys. So it's important that we are conscious and keep we have to be practical about what's going on with us and why we're suffering, because we live in a culture that perpetuates the suffering. Is our point. We have all this potential, but again, it's hard for us to realize the potential because of the conditions that we continue to live in. And these conditions keep us divided. All that anger, frustration, that this is what is prohibiting us from working together, guys. Okay. Question. Is it true that our ancestors would teach that bad health was the cause of spirits? Answer. Yes. This is a fact that white people like to clown us about. Their concepts of treating health issues are solely material, as we have been discussing. Since they have no knowledge of spirit forces, they thought by us claiming that spirits are the cause of disease was or is ridiculous. The fact of the matter, our ancestors were 100% right. All disease in the body is a cause of adverse spirit forces within. This is why we taught the importance of genetic purity then, and this is the reason why we teach this today. When your genetics are altered, this opens a person up to spirit being possession. Once someone is possessed by an adverse spirit force, this causes a change in one's genetic makeup. This genetic change is what makes a person susceptible to disease in the body, because these new genes create a different morphic resonant vibration to the body that conflicts with your natural nature vibration. We call these vibrational conflicts within the body disease of all kinds. These conflicts cause cancer, high blood pressure, STDs, sickle cell anemia, lupus, etc. The key to all disease is the alteration of one's natural nature genetic makeup, which is why so many people are born with certain types of illnesses, because they inherited bad genes from family members. You can have 2 children born with bad genes, but only one child gets sick because the sick child's natural genetic vibration is in conflict with the bad inherited genes, and the healthy child has no conflict. The point is that we will never be a healthy people if we continue to listen to foreigners as to how we should live. It is a known fact that Western science only designed healthcare and drug treatment based on the white race and not us Africans, who are very different in genetic makeup, which is something they love to lie about, claiming we are all the same inside, which is a nasty lie. Guys, please realize if you look different on the outside, you are different on the inside. Stop letting them trick you with that silliness that they teach, that we're all the same inside, that the human population is only 99.9%, different, guys. And this is something Dr. Jewel Pooker used to talk about, because the chimpanzee, we have 98% of the same genetics as a chimpanzee, but guess what? We're highly different from them. You don't see no chimpanzee writing letters and building rocket ships and driving cars or anything like that. So obviously that little subtle genetic difference is the difference itself. It's huge. It's real huge in how we behave. And if you study our culture as Africans and you study European culture, you see huge differences. And you see those differences in everyone's culture and how they behave and what we gravitate to naturally. Okay, so I just want to make that point, because they keep pushing this on our people that we're all the same inside. We're all the same inside. And this is what's giving rise to miscegenation. This is why people don't see nothing wrong with mixing in with other races, because they don't know the genetic, the downfalls genetically of that they're harming themselves because they're altering their genetics. But if they understood the science of health and the science of the African body and why you don't alter your genetics, because you basically handicap yourself, you disable yourself, you cut yourself off from using abilities that you once had. And the more we mix in, the weaker we get. We used to know these things, now we don't. We used to know these things, now we don't. I mean, it's, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so question. What is the key to health, right? What is the key to health? Answer. The key to health is always maintaining a positive mindset regardless of your living conditions. The reason why Black people are so sick today, the world over, is because of their negative conditions that they find themselves living in, which creates disease in the body. The disagreeable ones know that negative conditions create disease, which is why they make certain that the places we live have a lot of pollution. Pollution is a problem for Black people everywhere we live in the world. When one has a positive mindset, they make sure that their environment is clean and fresh. The problem is that it is very hard to maintain a positive mind living in a polluted environment. As long as we continue to live individual lives and not as a community of people, we cannot fight the forces that wish us ill will. As individuals, it is easy to discard us, but as a group, we become a force to reckon with. Our liberation will only come when we are able to maintain a positive mindset that compels us to work together towards our freedom of foreign influences. Sadly, a positive mindset is so underrated. If we only realize the power of the positive mind, our liberation would come easy. A sick people can never find their way to freedom, for sickness within distorts clarity of decision-making skills. So remember that if you want healing, it starts within the positive mind that tells you there is nothing that you cannot overcome, guys. And so they specialize in keeping our people in a very depressed state. And this is something you guys have to fight. This goes back to, again, talking about the heart center. This is where you feel all these emotions. And as long as we're ignorant about these emotional feelings, then we're going to be susceptible to our disunity and our disharmony among each other. This is why we can't come together. We can't come together because the negative mind creeps in, man. I don't like him, and I don't like what she did. I don't like what this person said. I can't work with this individual. I don't want to live with so-and-so. I don't trust so-and-so. That's the negative mind. And we're like, Black people are constantly judging each other from a negative point of view. We're like, it's perpetual. And we forgot existence is a circle. Existence is a circle. What does that mean? That means that every human being is a circle. Every human being has a downside, but every human being also has an upside. Every person has a left side and every person has a right side. But when you're in a negative mind, all you see is the downside of someone, and it blinds you from seeing the upside of them. And because you can't see the upside of them, then you don't want to deal with them. You don't want to work with them. This is we in fact we treat each other reverse, meaning we look at the upside of white people and we just ignore the downside, which is why we're able to work with them and deal with them, right? But when it comes to our own, we only look at the downside of our people, and all we do is dog each other out, which is what, look at all of the ex-students and the master teacher. They're just constantly dogging them out, negative. It's as if he did nothing positive because they're stuck in the negative mind. All they trying to do is focus on what they don't like about someone. And they don't know how to focus on what they do like about someone. What can you focus on? It's like, we got to get to the point where I may not like this person because they do this, but I like when they do that. So I'll deal with them when they're doing that. When they're doing the other thing, I'll get away from, because I had friends, and they had behavior patterns that I didn't like. They either want to go to a club or a strip club or to a bar or something like that. Well, I didn't deal with them when they did that. But if they wanted to watch the Super Bowl or watch a basketball game, or, we have a cookout, I'll deal with them with that. So we have to know how to deal with each other on that level. We have to learn how to deal with each other on things we can agree with, as opposed to the things we disagree with. Because again, as the famous saying, united we stand, divided we we fall. It's in our prayers, right? It's in our affirmations that we say as Sabians. You know, we succeed as a part of all, fail as individuals. And I'm trying to say the reason why we can't come together because we're sick. This is a part of the sickness. And it's a spiritual sickness. And until we heal ourselves, this sickness is gonna prevail, and we're gonna continue to be a divided people. We have to overcome this mental sickness that we're suffering from. This is what the master teacher has been struggling with us for so long, you know? All right, so now, some more stuff. The master teacher put out a book that is very important that I go over dealing with One, two, 1, 2. Guys, let me know if y'all can hear me. 1, 2, 1, 2. Is it better? Yeah. We're back. Okay, okay, we're back. That's what's up. All right, my bad, guys. My bad. I don't know, the software sometime be acting up. Okay, so what I was talking about was I get all this information like on health and everything we're talking about, obviously from the master teacher and the amount of information he put out teaching us, right? Now he put out this book right here, The Science of Healing. This might have came out in 1995, 96 that this book came out. I'm not exactly sure. I think it was 95 or something like that, 96, one of those two, that he put this particular information out. And this is an extraordinarily important book. But, you know, again, this is where I'm getting a lot of the information from books like these that the master teacher put out. And breaking down that health in this book, in essence, he's explaining to us health is not just physical, but it's also spiritual in nature. And you know, this is what he was re-educating us on. Okay, so this is just one of the books, right? That we have, and then we have the breath book that the master teacher put out. Okay, and this is extremely important because this is, in fact, the breath book is where how I learned about this thing called Sechem, that our ancestors taught about. In this particular book here, he introduced us that Sechem is in the atmosphere. And if you learn how to properly breathe, there's breathing rituals that you can learn how to harness this into the body for healing, the purpose of healing yourself and recharging your cells, So that's, extremely, extremely important. Okay. So I just wanted to make that clear to you guys as well. Now, and going back to where we at here, this particular book here, dealing with relaxation. I want to go over this particular book because it is extremely important dealing with health, and the master teachers, cover a lot of these concepts that we all need to be familiar with. So let's go from here. All right, so now we can have the Patarat, right, called Tarkach. Takak, which translates to relaxation. He goes on to say, Lehekum ayi nawap u yasar ayi kharadu. For you, my Nawapian family, my children, what I must impart to you is Wunawap. The most important is Takak, relaxation on self-control, relation, and meditation. It's the key to health. The importance of a healthy you, a healthy brain, body, and spirit, a healthy mind, soul, and etheric being, a healthy deity being, a healthy Kahen Mukwan, a divine being, a healthy Nawep Mukwan, supreme being, all by proper tahak or relaxation and meditation. Make time to sleep, relax, and meditate. It's healthy. Nawap U, make quiet time each day. Undisturbed time with little or no motion except breathing. No noise except your own inner heart beat. Peacefulness. Absence of worldly thinking. Relax and let go. Let your mind go to a place you never go. Remove all worldly worries. Sit alone, eyes closed. Remove all worldly things. Remember, Ayi Habiba Kharadu, my beloved children, the very words healthy and health begins with the word heal. To heal oneself is step one. To heal one's whole being will heal one's whole body. Takak, relaxation is simply learn to relax. What you must always remember is if you eat flesh that has blood in it, this was spirit, life, and it becomes a part of you. Its spirits enter your spirits. Its fears, its aggressions become yours and visit your mind. You must not overeat or undereat before you meditate. An active inner body will distract you. Know this. By taking care of your outer physical body, you are protecting your inner body. And by poisoning your outer physical body, you maim your inner beings. Also, your mental state affects your divine being. Mental states such as anger, frustration, greed, hate, jealousy, lust, and other emotions that can overpower your beings by desire or by physical intakes such as food, drugs, alcohol, smokes of many kinds, junk food, cigarettes, white sugar, white flour, and salts, all processed by evil demons in human form to prevent you from divine transformation. Also by sounds as unhealthy music or the lack of it. Also by lights as unhealthy cinema, TV, and the likes. Each person you stand beside or touch exchange their being with yours. When you smell bad odors, you're breathing in matter of or material substance of other beings. Bad carcasses or carcass or dead body or cells, eggs, or spoiled fluids in a human being of any race. Dead cells deteriorate or deterioration, the smell of death of many kinds, rot, decompose, decay, putrefaction, or disease. A bad smell, odor, unpleasant scent, odorous or odor is a sign of unhealthy or filth. Body odors are dead cells. Inner body odors such as bad breath is a sign of something rotting in the mouth or inside the body. Genital organs, vaginal organs, inner or outer, that have an odor is a sign of disease or uncleanliness, or rotten cells, dead eggs, and this state should be avoided. Bad odor is a sign of bad health. Avoid those with bad odor, or you will intake their bad health. Void what is bad for your health. If you are a Nawapian and you love Nawap-U, then pull him or her aside and tell them, this is what I smell of you and I wish to help you. Also, you could be told the same. Don't think you can tell another and not be told yourself. Don't become angered if one tells you about your body odors. Merely say thank you and investigate. Don't respond, so do you, out of anger or embarrassment or shame. Never express outward another person's body odors. Speak to them in private. It's personal. If it's another's consort, you may not approach the opposite sex if not your own consort. Teach your children good hygiene, to be hygienic, to make them hygienically conscious. Teach them how to be clean inside and out, outside in. Teach your daughters that most women who don't have a husband is because of inner body odors and they don't accept it, so they won't correct it. Therefore, can't keep a male partner. The physical khatat can affect your mental state. Your khatat or body gases affects your mind as you breathe in and transform smells to liquids and into your own bloodstream. Be clean, be healthy, be a deity of your body and your belongers, your home, your car, and your kharadu, children. NoopooH. Be clean and healthy. You may come in contact with NoopooH or Musba'u of foreign cultures who eat different foods and spices. Each spice has its own aroma, some very pungent and can be very spicy. Each has an odor of its own. And many people world over have been eating these spices in their foods for generations, some for many thousands of years. You may like or dislike it as they may feel the same about the odors of the spices you eat. Know this fact and respect it. No amount of perfume, oil, or scent will cover all human body odors. Remember, you are looked at the same way for trying to cover body odors. And all is not because of uncleanliness. Know the difference. So as not to insult a Nuapian for what you don't know yet. NoopooH, this is by far not an excuse to be unclean and have body odors. A male may come in from a hard day's work of sweating or games of sport and have body odors. Wash before you affect others. There is no excuse to have feet with bad odors or disease. Cure them. Don't affect others with your neglect. Before sexual contact and right after sexual contact, bathe and shower. Clean yourself inside and out before you go to sleep beside one another. If you are too weak after intercourse to bathe, then you are not in good health. The longest couples don't sleep in the same bed. It's best to have your own bed as not to deal with natural body reactions and odors. Each person has body actions, reactions, and odors that can be unpleasant to their partner. Too much time together is as bad as not enough time together. Know your consort and their roots, culture, foods, so as to feed them what is best for their body by generations, and your children who may be of both. Compromise for a healthy, lasting relationship. Bad food, bad smells, bad liquids, and bad persons is not healthy for you. People who are always angered is not healthy, and it is a sign that their 29 other voices or spirit forces is able to take control of them at random. Avoid them. Leadership does not give one the right to disrespect or act out of order to others. Leaders or teachers also can become possessed by inner spirit beings who act evil or ego or lustful or greedy. They must be put in check or replaced. If they don't correct their out of order actions, words, moods, or habits, any of you can do serious harm to yourself and others. Your inner spirits and you become weaker and weaker until you are out of control, lost your your soul. No one by possession or rank is above acting the part they play in this life no more. A position of authority does not exempt you from the rules of our most holy scriptures, Patarat. You are only there by delegation, and that is permission of all Nuwapians, authorization, not by nature. You were not sent down or incarnated to teach, only elected as any other can be. So act as if you know that all that and respect all Nuwapu who respect you. This is healthy mental living. Power corrupts, that is a fact. Don't become corrupted. Through the teachings of Wunuwap, our culture, way of life, our faith by ritual, you will be taught on how to nourish your body as well as your inner being. If you ever had a venereal disease of any kind, it is recorded in your DNA even if you're cured. So is each infection you have or had over the years. Each is an invasion of your body by thinking bacteria or microbes, disease, germs. With you as a host, it becomes or became a part of your DNA. Once you have had a disease, it becomes a part of you and can affect your body chemistry for life. Some much worse than others, even to kill you, your consort, and your children. Be careful who you exchange body fluids with and who others have exchanged their bodies fluids, sexual contact with you. This can be very unhealthy unto death. Women who have slept with more than 4 men after puberty have all their DNA in their bodies, and also all those they slept with before you. The same for drug addicts. It is also became a part of their DNA. The drugs are a part of them for life and can be passed on to their offspring. Alcoholism is a disease as well and can be passed on to offspring. Smoking is an addiction and it gets into the bloodstream and also can be passed on to offspring. These are tools of the evil ones to kill your race and keep them mentally and physically dead, and to seek to live in their unhealthy image and likeness. His way of life is based on unhealthy. Even their religions, opinions is designed to damage one's healthy mind and thinking. The prayer system of Islamism is very damaging to the human body. There are times in how one is to wake up, or it's many times each day and night. This makes one delusional delusional in a semi-trance like state or hypnosis, a spell-like existence, a form of mind control over Muslims. And this is found in Judaism and Christianism as well. Their fasting, their dress codes, their diets, their smelling of blood, and the killing of many animals in their religious rituals, offerings, and sacrifices. All these affect the mind, the body, and spirit. For a healthy body, you also need proper exercise and also proper breathing, proper relaxation, a diet as I gave you in the breath book. Intake as much clean water, sunlight, and clean air. A positive environment, positive people, positive sounds and music. Positive thinking are the prerequisites attendance that leads to a healthy, dynamic, and effective existence. Seek the facts, not faith, but your own fate. You must control your mind, and the first step is not to believe or just accept things. Use right reasoning. Proper relaxation is needed to maintain mental, spiritual, and physical health. Many of you think that involves or relaxation or takak involves leaving home for some exotic place where the mind and body is ceaselessly pampered with stimulants and depressants and a full range of other damaging delights. True takak comes with removing the stimuli, visual, audible, and otherwise, turning into the inner awareness of who you are without the they or inner voices speaking to you at all times, the whisperers. It's the whisperers, the they, in your own genes that cause you so much unrest, pain, and suffering. Take control of your mind, body, and spirit. Your etheric body and your your soul, will follow. Like any piece of sturdy machinery, mortal beings' physical and mental bodies can take quite a bit of abuse before giving any signs of protest. Unfortunately, most thinking has become a practice to ignore the basic rules of health by blind religious faith, and to think that a pill here or there which relieves symptoms will actually bring about well-being, or a belief in some unconfirmed God or Allah or Jah will cure you. Quite the opposite is true. Pain in the body is a warning like a red light on the instrument panel of your vehicle. Taking this or that compound of mankind's unnatural chemicals to remove natural symptoms is the same as taking a hammer and breaking that red light on your dashboard of a car. It does nothing to solve the problem. In fact, may make it worse, while only giving the appearance of helping. Many of mankind's made chemicals ingested are not useful to the whole body and cannot be eliminated naturally. They become a part of you, transforming you into an unnatural being, and they are therefore merely become junk DNA, guys. The medicine accumulated along with food additives that are eaten in such abundance, on an average of 25 pounds per person per year, combines with each other to literally poison your system. Each true Nuwaubian studies his and her body and how each part works, its inner and outer workings. To know all about your body, your systems, glands, organs, skin, hair, and liquids. This you must understand to know the way out of it. All you put in it, from food, liquids, and light, which is cinema, guys, and sound, you must know and why. So all mankind intakes affects this, and the effects may not be felt for many years. This is why, guys, people don't realize because of this poison culture, we be doing all these things, but you don't begin to feel it until you hit your 40s, man, your 40s, your 50s. This is when our people's bodies break down. 40s, 50s, 60s, we're just dropping dead because from childbirth, we were taught this poison culture, poison food, poison diet, which is why everyone in their teenage years and in their 20s, we've been conditioned into all of these bad habits. And then we pay the price when we hit our 40s and 50s and our people get on these medication. My grandmother, I think she had like 20 different bottles of medication they had her on, and I'm sure you guys know many people in that situation. Okay, it goes on to say, this does not mean that there is no need for modern medicine, yet herbs of your own are much better. Often doctors are considered to have some form of absolute knowledge, but too many frequent visits to the local general practitioner or specialist or psychologist are substituted for living a healthy life. Most of the diseases of the mind and body can be eliminated by following the 5 basic points: proper exercise, proper breathing, proper relaxation, proper diet and much water, and proper positive thinking. This is the way of Nuwaubians or Musba'u or Sabians, guys. You must control your environment. You must know whom you are with, and you must know where you have been. You must know where you are from. You must think before you act. You must act as if you are thinking. That is healthy. Okay. So, that was a lot. And, I hope all this information is informative, guys, to you, because it's imperative. We the key to this whole discussion is understanding the concept between when it comes to health. We're taught to do things physically to help ourselves when it comes to health, but we're not taught to do the spiritual things that is required to maintain a healthy being. And that's the theme of this discussion, to explain the importance of the spiritual aspects of health, because if you neglect it, you're never going to be healthy. And we have a very high potential to have extraordinary levels of optimum health, but we will never reach those potentials if we ignore the spiritual side of our nature. Unfortunately, we all do. Most of our people do. We ignore it because we don't understand the effects of our spiritual nature, and to develop ourselves spiritually and to be able to tap into this, what we call this cosmic energy, Sechem. You know? So I hope, this discussion will help you guys to start to think about that. Now, there's another thing I wanted you guys to see before we close this out. This was a clip from, we was talking about the movie Lucy, right? And for those who haven't seen it, I actually recommend watching the movie because it deals with some very important concepts about the ability of the human being. Because when the master was teaching us, we have the ability to turn ourselves into energy, into a ship, into this high spiritual being. That's hard for people to process because they don't have no reference point, and it's like, okay, is that really real? And this movie kind of goes into that, and it gives a visual, I think, representation to the concept, and so in this particular scene, Morgan Freeman is in this particular movie, and he's talking about the human potential. Once humans are using the full capacity of their mind power, their brain, right? They talk about the brain, but it's really the mind, guys. They don't understand that, the difference between the brain and the mind. And Mukasu having a hard time trying to comprehend the difference between the brain and the mind, because he thinks the mind comes from the brain and it's the other way around, right? The mind is what grew the brain. Okay, so, but again, this is African science of health. That is not, the Caucasians, they're not at that level yet. But check this clip out. I think it's important, and we'll go from there.
If life starts approximately 1 billion years ago, we will have to wait 400,000 years to see the aberration of the first nerve cells. This is where life as we know it begins. Brains in formation of only a few milligrams. It's not possible to determine any sign of intelligence yet. It acts more as a reflex. 1 neuron, you're alive. 2 neurons, you're moving. And with movement, interesting things begin to happen. Animal life on Earth goes back millions of years, yet most species only use 3 to 5% of its cerebral capacity. But it isn't until we reached human beings at the top of the animal chain that we finally see a species use more of its cerebral capacity. 10% may not seem like much, but it's a lot if we look at all we've done with it. Now let's discuss a special case. The only living being that uses its brain better than us, the dolphin. It is estimated that this incredible animal uses up to 20% of its cerebral capacity. In particular, this allows it to have an echolocation system that is more efficient than any sonar invented by mankind. But the dolphin did not invent the sonar, it developed it naturally. And this is the crucial part of our philosophical reflection we have today. Can we therefore conclude that humans are concerned more with having than being? Let's imagine for a few moments what our life would be like if we could access, let's say, 20% of our brain's capacity. This first stage would give us access to and control of our own body.
Sir,
Yes.
has it been proved scientifically?
Well, for the moment, it's just hypothesis, I confess. But if you think about it, it's troubling to realize that the Greeks, the Egyptians, and the Indians had notion of cells centuries before the invention of the microscope. And what to say about Darwin, whom everybody took for a fool when he put forth his theory of evolution? It's up to us to push the rules and laws and go from evolution to revolution. 100 billion neurons per human, of which only 15% are activated. There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Sir,
Yes.
and what will be the next stage?
Well, the next stage would probably be control of other people. But for that, we would need to access at least 40% of our brain's capacity. After control of ourselves and others, come control of matter. But now we're entering into the realm of science fiction, and we don't know any more than the dog who watches the moon.
Excuse me, sir,
Yes.
but what would happen if, for some reason, we ignore somebody unlocked 100% of the cerebral capacity?
100%?
Yes?
I have no idea.
Yeah, they don't have any idea Western science, but we do. And our ancestors have been teaching what it would be like, living or accessing your full potential, right? And this is why the master introduced us into, these abilities. This is what these beings represent. The Riskians, the Mozaku. These are beings who are, how can I say, they're functioning at optimum levels, and they came here to teach us exactly how to do these things, to initiate us into these realities, into the science of what levels of optimum health you really have. What is your potential? The potential to become like these beings, to become like a noon being. Yanun, you have Razun, Zanun, and Zakun, right? Noon beings. And that's why we call our culture Noon. The culture of Noon, or Wunawat, or Mozaku, or Sabaic. These are all names of our culture: sun culture, cosmic culture. We were the cosmosians, those who were in harmony with natural nature. This is what our potential is. This is what our abilities are. But again, we have to focus on what it means. What it means is the African concept of health and well-being, and the European concept of health and well-being has run its course. That they're at the top of their game, because now they're moving into the realm of artificiality. They're trying to integrate themselves with computers, and so they have no connection to nature. That's the extent of their brain capacity. So they're thinking they have to, to exist, they must be artificial. That's not who we are. We understand that we have the ability to tap into the highest levels of natural nature. They don't have that mental capacity, but we do. But we have to give up their stuff for our stuff. That's the key, guys. You got to give up their stuff for our stuff. Okay. With that being said, that is it. So if anybody have any questions or concerns, we can address them. I see there's a lot of comments, but I don't know if there was any questions about anything. For 6 months to live our culture to the letter, my testimony, and what I felt. Okay, there's a statement. I don't know if it's a statement or a question. Let me see if I can see this from Kamel Mulhadran. Says, I tried for 6 months to live our culture to the letter. My testimony on what I felt, how I felt, and the things I began to do and attract was another level. I cured myself of H. pylori. Okay, that's really good. Glad I came across this. I need this awake. That's what's up. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. We have these potentials, guys. We have so much potential if we just learn how to, use it. That's the key. High school, I saw one with a blue green hue. Okay, that's what's up. Me and I was just reading your comments to kind of get a breast. Thanks about today's time, and she now does not remember seeing it, but I remember it so clearly. My conclusion is that this was a being who turned the body into a ship. Okay. All right. Okay, so I mean, again, if you guys don't have any questions or concerns anymore or anything, we're going to close out to next week. And just a real statement, guys, I've been missing up on NoopooH News. I missed the last 2 weeks. We're supposed to do NoopooH News updates on Friday, so I want to apologize to that because I definitely want to get those things out. I'm definitely going to make it my business to definitely put out NoopooH News updates on Fridays because this so much information we got to get out there, and update on giving you guys an update about the website, right? The NoopooCC.com, which is so important, things that we're working on. And guys, each one teach one. Don't forget, man, each one teach one. This knowledge needs to be passed on to others. This knowledge needs to be passed on to others. This is how we grow, this is how we grow. This is how we get strong. We build our strength through community, through groups, through us, building our numbers. Our people need to understand this right knowledge. It's up to you guys to share it. I'm trying to share with you, and it's up to you guys to share it with your circle of influence, your family, your friends, or whoever you have influence to. Share this knowledge. Watch videos with them. Spread the word, because this is how we change the conditions that we're in, by getting more of our people to start making sound, right, reasoning decisions, to get away from this crazy culture that's destroying us. And so I can't stress this enough. Spread the word, as we say. Now, with that all being said, we're going to close out. We're going to our prayers. We do our 9 o'clock prayer, so it's just about that time. And for those who are familiar with it, definitely follow along. For those who are not, we do our prayers in our language, Sabaic, right? And you have the English translation below it. So I always recommend follow along. For those who need knowledge about our prayer systems and why we do it, it's for our own spiritual development. I repeat, we did a class on why we pray last week. So I'm always telling guys, watch that lecture if you haven't watched it, and watch it again if you only watched it once or twice. Watch it again. Study these lectures. And guys, also keep in mind, the lectures we have is just a supplement to our books. If you're not studying the books, if you're not reading the information, it's very difficult to truly comprehend the essence of these discussions, because our lectures, all of our lectures on our channel here, is based on what we teach, based on all of the information that the master teacher has put out. So my job, I'm just trying to help you guys on your journey in comprehending our doctrine. I'm trying my best to make things clear. I hope we're doing that. But again, if it is imperative that you guys study the books in conjunction with studying the lectures. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to get started. Badei Kalal Namasat Wufad Ko Aman Kasamun Shalal Pa'ut. pa takyu. Anuki jawef pa ashuk impa paut. Wu kala ashuk kawun jawefnia. Anuki kasam un impa paut. Wu pa paut kawun kasam un imnia. Anuki wahu ama pa paut. Wu pa paut kawun wahu ama nia. Naku kador naju ama kasam un impa paut. Wu khabu ama muskasun. Naku kador kawan kala pafaf naku daya jaweb pa paut. Ama wase ama dayani kawun lake bakui jaweb pa paut. Anuki yababi nafasni. Pa paut kawun. Anuki. Pa paut kador. Naku kador. Pa paut amul. Naku amul. Lahahum manahnu. Lahahum manahnu. Ahumata korehum. Ahumata korekum. Ahumata korenun. Ahumata jawefnia. Ahumata niya wu anuki hum. Yaye ashuk re'e. Asmua jayenun. Yaye notaru afuknun. Anunata mukra ukum. Yaye notaru afuknun. Afuknun afuknun. Yaye notaru nun. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Namazo wahu. Yaye mafaku. Yayehu. Yayehu. Yaye notaru. Yaye soye. Yaye soye. Yaye notaru. Yaye hika. Yaye hika. Yaye notaru. Ankum at the pa mufaku. Yayehu. Yayehu. Yaye notaru. Ankum at the pa mufaku. Wu anu at the mukra ukum. Wu ankum at the musanun. Yayehu. Yayehu. Yaye notaru. Aro muklasnu atum pre. Yayehu. Yayehu. Yaye notaru. Namazo abdu. Aroenhu. Yaye mukdamu afutnun. Ankum mana yakela dudo muslafunun. Wu musarnun. Mana yake sawura pa. Mana yake kawuna ka'u. Mana yake ata akak. Mana yake kawuna bashar wu damam. Yaye nataru mukdamu nun. Aro muftanun. Anhu kawun manzal mana pa nataru. Aro anhu. Anhu kawun baba yananan. Aro anhu. Excuse me. Aro anhu. Anhu kawun haro. Namazo atalu. Yaye notaru muslafunun. Afutnun mana pa mujwa'u. Afutnun mana gahaan. Yaye notaru afutnun. Mana saya gayara. Afutnun afutnia. Afutnun afutnia. Yaye notaru nun. Namazo rabu pa tahmui. Nakuk talub tahmui bi pa nataru. Mana pa laen lawi tananu. Kale ranam atni at the lehe pa nataru. Wu kale namazo atni at the lehe kaya iatun laye pa nataru. Pa sawa wu pa turu. Pane misfa kawun. Pa sawa wu pa turu. Z kawuna nazula lehe enkum. Mane maspa wu masa. Ame hade en un wu damal un. Mane muslafu kum. Wu nataru. Aju leye nafasu kum. Afuk shene kawun kum. Pa sawa wu pa turu. Pa hade en wu pa damal. En nun tawu en kum. Lehe penen damal wu shafe. En nun tawu en kum. Lehe tim nasui nun. En nun tawa en kum. Lehe ashikuma. En kum at the muslafunun. Anun at the mukra'ukum. Anun talub nasakuma. Anun talub nasakuma. En so nun kahen notaru. En so nun muslafunun. Anun at the muspatu. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Yaye Natarunun. Yaye Muftau. Yaye Nataru. Yaye Atumure. Yaye Natar. Yaye Nun. Yaye Natar. Yaye Nun Tat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Ha. Yaye Natar. Yaye Hatat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Kak. Yaye Natar. Yaye Katat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Amun. Yaye Natar. Yaye Amuntat. Yaye Natar Tat. Yaye Atun. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Shashash. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Tafaf Natat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Sabab. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Natat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Arash Tat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Asar. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Nabab Tat Hatat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Satak. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Hara. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Hatui. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Anaktat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Ahaharatwi. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Nafartun. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Menthu. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Bapti. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Sachamtat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Hatat Haratat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Baibis. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Patah. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Basastat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Imhatap. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Hu. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Matat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Mahart. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Kafaf Re'e. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Miskinat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Horaye Tat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Kentimentu. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Hika. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Ma'at. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Horanentat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye She. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Sashat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Mafdat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Sabak. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Anat. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Chanun. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Chanas. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Patatanun. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Soye. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Haktat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Amas. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Sarabtui. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Atun Re'e. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Dahutwi. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Patata Warat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Sakartat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Ha. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Neheb Ka'a. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Sakar. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Ba. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Akar. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Mharatat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Wapawatat. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Sakhat Hataptat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Meritat Sakartat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Suyetat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Garatat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Asat Inu. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Bahatat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Chanem Tat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Manaktat. Yaye Nathar Tat. Yaye Chamem. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Mahatwi. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Kabefsin and Afaf. Yaye Nathar. Yaye Dalmatafaf. ya ye nathar, ya ye merdi tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nasat, ya ye nathar, ya ye imdadad tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nachakbatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sachatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye anaktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye dadad, ya ye nathar, ya ye tun, ya ye nathar, ya ye wahoo, ya ye nathar, ya ye yasas, ya ye nathar, ya ye anach, ya ye nathar, ya ye afnuit, ya ye nathar, ya ye satat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye schatwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye imat, ya ye nathar, ya ye nanach, ya ye nathar, ya ye imnuit, ya ye nathar, ya ye imsataktwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye mutaltat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye warahashafaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye maratwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye amun re'e, ya ye nathar, Yehu Anun Ata Kaleh Joef Pa'ut Nun Re Tun Re Tun Re Mun Re Yeon Amun 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 Amun. Jetna 4. Okay. All right. Great class. Again, for those who are not familiar with our prayers, our chants, our rituals, it is for the purpose of spiritual development. Why we go through all of these things is extremely important. It helps raise your vibration. Our whole goal is learning to connect with our higher self. So I recommend once again for you guys to definitely check out our lecture dealing with the prayers, why we pray. I can't stress that enough. But that all being said, question from Camille, real quick. Is there any insight about this virus? I have a feeling they are using it to stay in power. Well, that's an interesting point. The virus, among many other things, their biggest weapon to stay in power is the banking system. I repeat, their biggest weapon to stay in power is the banking system. As far as the viruses, they've been poisoning our people with viruses and bad everything, trying to poison us and kill us since we've been here. Because it's about control, right? It's about control, population control. And so I wouldn't give too much credence to the virus because there's so many things in this culture that they use to destroy us as a people. So it's not just the virus, it's many things in this culture, but their number one thing, guys, is money. The banking system, the fact that they control us through money, which is how they control your labor. And they control, when you're controlled by your labor, that means they control your time. And that's their biggest tool they have against us. They control our time. We spend all our time trying to make money so that we can pay for our necessities to live. And everything we pay to live is from them. We buy our clothes from them, our food from them. We pay our rent to them. We pay our transportation to them. They literally have total control of our lives. This is a very high, advanced, sophisticated level of slavery. where they don't need to put us in chains no more because we're willingly slaves to their system. So keep that in mind. It is the banking system that is the biggest tool to control our people, to control us all over the world. And they got us fighting for money, killing for money, raping for money, pimping for money, selling ourselves for money. We're doing everything to get this money from them. And I've been harping on this concept for the longest, guys, to get us to wake up. We don't need our system. The earth is free, guys. We don't need their system. The earth is free. Our money is in each other. Our money is in helping each other. But that negative mind keeps us divided. That negative mind keeps us divided. Always worrying about, I can't trust this one. I can't work with this person. I don't like this person. I can't deal with this individual. Guys, this is what we're all suffering from. I suffer from this. We all suffer from this. We got to conquer that negative mind that keep us divided. We keep talking about this, and I'm going to keep on talking about it. We got to learn to deal with each other. We got to learn to tolerate each other, because that negative mind are those adverse spirits that keep us divided, and we got to overcome that. We got to overcome it. So with that being said, we're going to close out. Much blessings, much peace to you, to all of you guys. I wish you all well. Remember, spread the word. Let other people know about this beautiful thing we call Wu-Sabat, all that we're teaching. Guys, who has this right knowledge other than us? No one has a profound doctrine. Our people are all over YouTube listening to all kinds of people, and they don't realize we're the ones with the right knowledge. We're the ones with the most profound doctrine there is. But it's up to you guys to let them know. You guys have to let people know all of the things that we're teaching that is so far superior to everyone else out there. I can't stress that enough. It's not about tooting my horn and trying to big us up. These are the facts. Just watch the lectures, listen to the lectures, read our doctrine. You'll see how much more advanced what we're teaching than anyone else. It really is, And so I can't stress it enough. So until then, much love.